Hello and welcome to the Unit 6 Distinguished Scholar problem. So here's the template. I have the given information here. You have the risk-free rate is 4%, the market rate is 9%, and the beta for the stock is 1.2. In step 1, calculate the required return using the Gordon growth model. So you have the required rate of return information given you, and that is the formula for calculating the required rate of return, the CAPM, which is your risk-free rate plus the beta times the market rate minus the risk-free rate. So you need to calculate that information in step 1 before you go to step 2. So in step 2, calculate the growth rate. This is your G in the growth model. So how do you get that information? I have provided that information for you. Click on historical dividends when you go to yahoo.com, financeyahoo.com for 3M Corporation. Click on historical dividends using dividends from 2000 to 2009. So in year 2000 they paid dividends of 29 cents times 4 is $1.16. Year 2009 they paid dividends of 51 cents times 4, which is $2.04. So 116 is your negative present value, 204 is your future value, and the dividends have been given for the year of 10 years. So we are trying to calculate the rate, what was the rate of the dividends before we can use the formula. And of course the payment is 0, so in Excel you're going to use the rate function. Okay, so with all this information now you can calculate the growth rate. So click on the present value function here in this cell, and then you go to your formulas, click on the formula bar, right, you can see that. Okay, I'll click on more functions. So click on the rate and say OK. So this is where you're going to enter your rate. Your net periods is 10. Okay, payment is 0, present value is your past dividends in year 2000, future value is your 204, and the type will be 0, and then you'll say OK. So that will give you the rate. Okay, once you enter that information, that'll give you the rate of return. So I'm going to delete that right now. And then after you have this information, you're going to use information from step 1, step 2, and now you're going to calculate the value of the stock. So we know our dividends for year 1. The new dividend is whatever the dividend was, the last dividend, which was $2.04, times the rate of growth, the dividend growth rate, which is what you calculated right here. Okay, so the new dividend would be the $2.04 times this new dividend that you calculated using the rate function. And now you're going to put that information up there, and the rate that you determine in step 1 here, the RF risk-free rate plus beta times the market premium. The market required rate was 9 minus the 4% is 5% times 1.20. Take the rate minus the growth rate you calculated here to determine the price, and that's how you're going to calculate. And the last step is you go to finance.yahoo, enter 3M, click on key statistics, and you can check the price of the stock and see the price that you came up with and see if it is the correct price. Is it overvalued or undervalued? And I hope this is clear. Okay, so let me go over once again. Risk-free rate is 4%, market rate is 9%, beta is 1.2. Plug this in this formula. Risk-free is 4 plus 1.2 beta times 9% is your market minus the 4%. Calculate that amount, and that's your required rate of return. That's what you're going to use for the rate in the last step of this calculation. Step 2, use the Excel function. These are the dividends that are given to you. Present value, use the rate function. This is your future value. 10 is your N, 0 is your payment. Click on the rate function under the sum function in Wizard in Excel. This will give you your growth rate. Now step 3, calculate D1, because D1 is not the same as 204. $2.04 increased by this rate that you calculated just now. So take that, multiply that 204 times the rate, divided with the rate of growth that you calculated here minus the growth rate that you calculated here, and figure out the price. So I'm going to end this right here, and hopefully this recorded clearly, and I'll press stop now.